And on May 10th, I was convinced that she is not here. And on Father's Day, it reaffirmed it. I said, no, she's not here. She's not here. I already knew I was looking for her dead. But where was she? And when I lost my husband, I thought it was the biggest thing, that the universe had prepared it for me, that it was the greatest test. Then I lost my dad, and I thought that was also the greatest pain I would ever experience. But the pain of losing a child has no explanation, and it has no end. It's a pain that will hurt daily. Sometimes even breathing is painful. They're telling me that since then she was in the amphitheater, that neither I nor the authorities could find her.
How?
What's going on?
The Apodaca police did a bad job.
In our country, cases of disappearances and violence don't distinguish between gender or social status. We often witness tragedies where people lose their loved ones, acts of violence, or face stories that challenge our understanding and humanity. But what happens when the ones we love simply disappear without a trace? Well, uncertainty, pain, and despair become a constant for the families who are searching for answers, facing a system that often seems indifferent or unable to provide justice. So today we will have the opportunity to listen to Hilda Laura Ramones, who will share with us the heartbreaking case of her daughter Melissa Ibarra Ramones, who one day went out to a party and never came back alive.
Good afternoon. I am Gilda Laura Ramones, the mother of Melissa Abigail Ibarra Ramones, a victim of femicide. Well, I became a widow at 35, and my children's lives and mine changed completely. My husband, Santiago Ibarra, was also a victim of violence in 2011. And as a result of this, I went from being a housewife to becoming the provider for my children. Things changed a lot because honestly, my husband was a very good provider. And from being with my children constantly, I started working and not neglecting them. It's just that you have to go out to work because you have to take care of things. Things that they have to use, that they need a home, clothes, education. This greatly influences Melissa's personality because it makes her a girl with the desire to belong. It's as if they took everything away from her. I mean, they actually took everything away from us, but she was more vulnerable. After these events, she suffered an accident where she was hit by a car, damaging her frontal lobe. This is what allows us to realize when we're in a dangerous situation, or to know when to say no, right? Or that, like we say, the fifth, the sixth sense. We start to act like we don't have an economic situation that keeps us in one place. I mean, we have to move houses because sometimes bigger expenses would come up. My son moved on to middle school. He was in elementary, then moved to middle school. She was already in 6th grade, and I already had her in kindergarten. So this brings other expenses, and at times you simply can't continue paying the same rent. What happens? Meli was always a person who was very easy to convince, a very easy person. This led her to meet people she shouldn't have. And we told her, but she didn't understand. She thought we were against her. We arrived at a neighborhood called La Cieneguita in Apodaca, and through acquaintances, they started practicing boxing. And that's where she started meeting people from around the area. Besides, she started attending middle school there in that same neighborhood, and she began to change. It was like she started seeing us as if we were her enemies because we told her those friends aren't good for you. The usual, when you see that something isn't right, everything starts to get better. For us, we were doing a little better financially. My son and I worked for waiter agencies at sports clubs. And one time she went to work with us and started working as a hostess at a hotel near Centrito Valle. And she was doing very well. And this, well, it attracted more friends to her that she shouldn't have had. Why? Because she looked like an easy target, and she was eager to belong and to have friends. It's a thousand-headed monster. They know how to catch people. He met a girl named Wendy. I think her name is Wendy. And he starts taking her into situations that weren't good at all. We realize that she starts using substances and we try to help her. But like the other girl, she also came from families that already had addicts. Well, she knew what it was like to be in a rehab center and all that, and it made her really scared. And Melissa was very easy to manipulate, very easy for everyone except us, because she saw us as if we were being mean to her. And that's how some time goes by. Melissa starts to focus more on work and on her studies, but she didn't give up that sport. So it was like that's where they caught her, because it was very close to the girl's house. Until one time I talked to the mother and told her that she goes to my house. And I tell her, please, not to allow my daughter to talk back to her daughter. And she tells me, I always wonder, where is Melly's mom? I told her I was working so she wouldn't lack anything. I'm going to open the refrigerator and see that she doesn't need to be out on the street. No, but we love her very much. Well, then don't love her. Here at home, we love her. You don't have to love her. I mean, don't accept her. If you reject her, she doesn't have to go there. But no, they never listened to me. Then my dad passed away, and for Melissa, it was like losing her dad again. For Melissa, it meant sinking into depression again. I was working back then. I worked at a grilled meat shop, and my dad was still in the hospital. And she calls me and says, Mom, who's dead? Who's dying? Who is this? Who is that? I hear them screaming, no. So I ask her, where are you? What's wrong? And she hangs up on me. And 3 seconds later, a man calls me and says, hey, come get your daughter. Look, she's here on Pravada, China. I tell him, I don't know where that is. It was very close to my house, but since I was always working, I didn't really know which ones they were. He commuted from work to home and back, but didn't know the area well. He asked me, aren't you going to spend the night here? I said no, explaining that I didn't know. He then told me, come because they're hitting and hurting her. So I go to my house to get some money so I can get around. And just as I'm arriving, she's arriving too. I ask her, Melissa, where were you? Nowhere. And yes, she was completely soaked. The man said they had thrown water on Melissa. I asked her where she was. Where were you? Don't go out anymore? Why do you go out? I mean, look, stay here. No, yes, and I understood. And she would stay there at the house like, I don't know, for 1 or 2 weeks. But since I was working the mother of that girl, or that person from the house where she was staying, they would go and look for her. But they would go and look for her when I wasn't there. I mean, when I was off, right? So, Melly, please, don't go out and don't go out. Until the day comes when, one time she just doesn't come back. She doesn't come back. This was the first time she disappeared on me. She didn't come back. I was looking for Melissa, calling out for her. Her mistake was leaving her Facebook open on the screen. Because we really tried to make sure she didn't have a cell phone or tablet or anything like that. Wendy was a bad influence on her through social media because she didn't have the same economic level.
Wendy, she?
Yeah, she dressed very well and all that. And well, I just gave my children what I could. I mean, I'm not saying she was badly dressed or anything like that, but it was whatever I could give them because I was always both mom and dad to my kids. And this girl took advantage of that. It was like, well, like psychopaths, you know, they give you love with a reward. They treat you badly and then give you a reward so you keep staying there. A narcissist, so you keep needing them, so you keep needing them. And that's how the relationship with her was. Imagine that she like treated her badly and she would stop talking to her. And Melissa was like a sisterly love that she had for her. I mean, I don't know how to say it. I mean, she needed her so much in her life. And then it was like she started to realize that she didn't need her. I mean, I have a good job. I'm studying. I get home. And if I don't behave, I mean, she doesn't come. Because she was aggressive, Melissa. When they're using substances, Well, obviously, having a damaged frontal lobe, that makes their brain deteriorate even faster. Those are things we sometimes don't understand. We have to learn them as we go because Melissa ended up becoming schizophrenic. And she would make up all sorts of things or tell you things, and I didn't know anymore if she was telling the truth or if it was a lie. Her emotional state and her physical state started to deteriorate a lot. I mean, a lot. From being a little girl, very, very beautiful. She started to look very haggard. She started to lose a lot of weight. It was already starting to harm my daughter, who was just starting high school in the state of the school. She would tell you, the first time she ran away from me, she leaves her Facebook open, and that's when we realized that she had already planned, to leave. And then May 10th comes, and she sends me a message. Happy May 10th. It's funny because they were clueless about how much I was suffering. Not having her, not knowing what was happening with her. Mom, happy May 10th. Thank you for always being there for me and being both mom and dad. I'm grateful you haven't left us. And me, where are you? Where are you, Melissa? How could you think of doing this? What's wrong with you? No, I'm fine. Please don't ruin this opportunity they're giving me. What opportunity? Don't you realize they're exploiting you? And it's so sad because it keeps happening with so many girls of that age. From 13 to 18 years old, it's happening. There are girls their same age who have the ability to manipulate them and take them to places where they shouldn't be, and with people they shouldn't be with. Yes, it's human trafficking. Yes, it is trafficking. They used to tell me I was exaggerating when I said this, and they would say, no, but I'm not exaggerating. What they have is trafficking. They get them addicted. They make them need them. They make them need those friendships. They need them more than family, even more. We become the bad ones to them. That's very, very difficult. It's a very difficult situation because he came to steal from us knowing the situation we were in. But it wasn't out of malice. She needed it. But her physical and emotional condition didn't allow her to work anymore. She would forget things. Before she got so bad, she worked with me at a sports club, and she was doing very well. She was doing very well. But like I always tell you, her need to belong was such that we got paid on Mondays, and on Tuesdays she wouldn't go to work because she would go to the swimming pool and invite people. That eagerness to belong, to have that group that you don't understand. That your group is your family, which is the one that's going to be there. Because in the end, we were the ones who looked for her. Despite her, everything they told us, we were the ones who looked for her. Well, it turns out she was traveling. I filed the report and she was traveling in Mazatlan. She was traveling. It was easy for her. They offered to pay for their trip and she accepted. She comes back and she starts off well. Like, Melissa, don't go out, Melissa. And she's there. And then I enroll her to study at Izuku. And then what happened with my dad, which was a loss for her. Once again, her dad. She relapses into drug use and reconnects with her old crowd. And from then on up until the day she disappeared, a year and a half went by, almost a year and a half. And every day there were problems. Every single day there were problems. Because she started using crystal meth. And we realized it because this girl, Wendy, would come over and they would use it there at the house. And my little girl, who was very young, was scared of her. And besides, the smell of that substance is very strong. It's really, really strong. That's how time goes by. Until we got to April 13th, 2020. I was working at the airport. When the pandemic came, they told us we would work for 15 days straight, then rest for 15 days. We can't miss any of the 15 work days. If we do, we won't get paid for the other 15. So, It was Easter Sunday, I think. That year, it even seemed like the universe was telling me not to go out. Because I leave my house at 5:30 in the morning, and I remember thinking, where am I going? It felt like a cloud was trailing me. The fog was like that, so I started walking, and there wasn't even a taxi passing by, not even the bus. So I moved to a bigger avenue, which is called Concordia. The fog made me feel like something was following me. With every 3 steps I took, it felt just like that. So I said, what if I go back? But then I said, no. That need to have to feed 3 children. My son was already 19, 20 years old, but he wasn't working. Because he worked at a sports club. So the sports clubs closed immediately because they were a source of infection. So he has always been a great support for us financially since he was 15 years old. I refused to miss work, especially on Sunday, because they would claim I went somewhere else last night and didn't want to work. So the bus passed by and I got to Apodaca just fine. And we were all thinking how strange it was, like, look at the fog and all that. So I get to work, they give me my spot, the store they assigned me that day. And around 3 in the afternoon, my youngest daughter calls me and says, Mom, Melissa left. But why? No, well, Isaac told her not to go out. And it seems like she already argued with him. And she left. But why? Well, she was going to a party. She went to the party, so I waited for her at dawn, because she would come back at dawn. Another thing about her, which also had a big impact on the search, was that we didn't give her, cell phones. My son and I had cell phones, and there was a basic tablet for Carolina to do her schoolwork. She, in one of her fits, had broken the screen for us. That thing. These seemingly minor factors affected her search. We didn't have a television. I told her she'd be here soon. I waited for her to arrive in the early morning, around 2 or 3 ante-meridium. No, how strange. But I saw that it was open. That she was online on her Facebook. So I thought someone lent her a phone and she's online. Where is she? So I sent her a message. I said, Melissa, where are you? And she doesn't answer me. Very well. On Monday, at 5:30 in the afternoon, that Sunday, my 15-day vacation was starting on Monday, so I wasn't going to work. Sunday was the last day I had to go to work. On Monday, my vacation starts. So I was busy doing things like laundry, cooking, and other chores. So around 5:30, I grab my phone. And it tells me I see that someone has just been shot. Is that instinct telling you to ask and call Locatel? But they tell me no. That the person who was shot is stable, but that she is a Honduran woman between 25 and 35 years old. So I said, no, it's not Melissa. Melissa was slim with a small face. She was a girl. She was petite. So I said, no, it's not. You're not going to confuse someone my age with someone younger. It's impossible. You can make me look older. Probably, but you can't make someone very young look that much older. We discussed the periods from 18 to 25 and 25 to 35, spanning a significant 7 years and 10 years respectively. Well, that's a lot older.
No, I couldn't find her.
The next day, I see that they found a woman by the airport. And Marco, I ask again and they tell me that no. So I said, no, that's it. I have to move. So, I moved to the amphitheater and no. Melissa wasn't there. No one matched her. For this, in the early morning, I saw that she was still online from the 14th in the early morning. It was 3 in the morning. I sent Melissa a message asking where she was. Come see me. You can leave afterward if you want. But it can't be that this illness wins over your desire to come back home. And I see that in those moments she disconnects. I see that in those moments she disconnects. I mean, at least. It's going to be 3 or 4 more days, but I don't know. There was something and I kept looking for her. So I would go and see that there were parties. During those 15 days when I wasn't working, I saw that there were parties. Like in some places, people were complaining in the groups that they were making noise and all that. And I would go and check and I didn't see her. Except for Enrique and Wendy. There were very few people I ever saw with her, and I didn't know their names or where they lived.
Although these outings or absences were not something unknown to Melissa on this occasion, her lack of communication set off alarm bells for Hilda, who immediately started looking for her. However, she never imagined that a message would completely change the course of her search.
So I started looking for her and all that, but no, I couldn't find her. I just couldn't find her. Another whole month went by like that, and on the 19th, the 18th of May, it was a Sunday. And she sent for us, and she called us on the phone. And they sent my son a message on Messenger, and they asked him, "Is it true that Melissa was killed?" "Isaac, that's my son." He says, "Mom, come here. Look, they're sending me this." So I asked him, "But how?" Then he says to me, "I don't know." So I said, "You know what? I grabbed Melissa's birth certificate. I grabbed her clave única de registro de población, my voter identification, and I went to the Apodaca CODE. Then I arrived. Well, obviously, since we were in a pandemic, only certain people were allowed in. This is the turn. Then they let me in. And the report was filed online. Because back then, since we were in a pandemic, there wasn't a judge available to take my statement. The report. So the judge who was taking my report told me, "Why only now?" I told her, because they kept telling me, I'd ask and they'd say, "Oh, we just saw her right now." Yes, she was here and then she left. I went to places where I saw parties or people gathered. They'd say, "She was here this afternoon, but already left. We saw her by the Enramada. We saw her by the Nuevo." And that was exactly during her search. Exactly the same. When I start looking for her, they tell me tomorrow morning this flyer will come out. Like I told you at the beginning about my life at 35, I don't have a very good relationship with my family, because when you're left alone, everyone knows what you need. Or they assume or think they know what you need and what you want, and it's very easy to judge. And my husband's family, well, they're not a very close family. When the trunk is bad, when the root is bad, the whole trunk is bad. So I didn't really have any support either. So when that happens, I have to call my family because they're going to find out. And I know how they are. And I call them and tell them Melissa has been missing for about a month. And they told us that she was killed and that, but I put this thing of already the missing person report. And they started there. Well, they start judging you. The family always is going to judge you. You will always be the bad one. The people who also live under your roof and your doors, they are also going to judge you. Always. Because up until now, because I was looking for her, because all the signs were that she was alive. And that's how it was. They also made fun of the authorities. Because when the search team comes to my house, well, I tell them, they say, "Ma'am, it's just that I don't know my friends." And I say, "How do you not know them?" "Well, it's just that I focus on working. So, Melissa." "Well, I know where the boxing gym is and I know people from there, but I know she wasn't going because the gym was closed. I know she wasn't going." I mean, they're not helpful. They were just people she met around there, right? Who? I don't know. Should I give them to you? The address of that private Chinese place they gave me when they were hurting her. I give them Enrique's name and I give them this Wendy's name, who were the 2 people who had the most influence on Melissa. Enrique supposedly talked to Melissa's friend Gloria about this. Who sends my son messages about what Enrique told her? that Melissa had gone a day before in a black truck with a bald guy. Why didn't she tell him to come to the house instead of going? Ask her why she didn't tell him to come here rather than leaving. No, she did tell her, but Melissa doesn't want to come. When the search team goes to Enrique's house, Enrique's mom comes out and tells them, no, the girl was here. On May 10th, I remember it well. They were going to celebrate me at the Fraustro and we were about to leave. We invited her, but she didn't want to go. With this, I'm telling you, what kind of people can they become? I mean, they don't have a heart. If they already knew she wasn't there, why insist on keeping her? Why not let her get home? Why insist, no matter what state she was in, just let her arrive? If they already knew she had been killed because they did know, why keep that? I mean, why keep her away from her home? Why? What could she have done to you? So, he gives them Wendy's address, and the people from the prosecutor's office arrive with Wendy's mom, and she tells them that they only agreed about the bald guy. When Enrique says it, that she had gone in a truck and that Melissa had a boyfriend who was bald, but they hadn't seen him. Because Wendy had been hospitalized since September of last year and shows them the payment receipts from that rehabilitation center, which is a lie. I kicked Wendy out of my house when she came to visit in December. Later in January, I saw her posts. So it's not true that I was hospitalized in September, but the lady showed it. I imagine she had connections with that center, because she has children who are addicts, older than Wendy. And well, they go in and out, and the days kept passing like that. We got all the way to Father's Day. That day, I already felt like I was saying, I'm already very tired. Whatever happens, I just want to find out. I had already warned my children to prepare themselves as Melissa was gone. Unlike what I told you that when she disappeared the first time, Mother's Day came and she called me and said that she thanked me for always being her support. Sorry. On Mother's Day, I believe she had passed away. And on Father's Day, I reaffirm it. I mean, no, he isn't. I already knew I was looking for her dead. But where was she? And because of that, I was already prepared. I don't know how, but I was already prepared because whether she was there or not, those 2 dates gave me the push to act like she wasn't there.
Hilda's ordeal wasn't over, and little by little she became convinced that the worst had happened. However, she still had hope of finding her little girl. It was then that support groups like Buscadoras Nuevo León became a key tool to provide her with peace and companionship in her search.
Around early June, late May, I came across Buscadoras. A friend told me, look, they will help you. It's a search group. Oh, okay. I sent Melissa's information and asked if they could post it on their budget. And they said yes. I posted because they were suggesting I might have been with a truck driver, but I dismissed it, saying whatever. So I was posting here in Coahuila, in Durango, even in Houston, on Houston pages. I was posting about people who had been missing for a long time. I had nothing to discuss with them, but I knew they lived. I'm unsure here in Juarez, in Pesqueria, in other places. I would ask them, please, can I bring you flyers so you can put them up there near the stores? I mean, no, well, yes. So when I was checking the searchers page, I saw that they were going to start reviewing cases. And they tell me, so I tell them, please don't forget about Melissa. And they tell me, oh no, of course, please make sure they review Melissa's case. At that time, Mr. Rodolfo was at the search prosecutor's office. I owe my peace to him. I owe it to him. because to him I wasn't the mother of an addicted girl. To him, I was a mother who was looking for her daughter. I've already told you. They informed me that Wednesday I had an appointment at the prosecutor's office. And they tell me, hey, Hyla, I'm Lulu from the Searchers. Have you talked to us by message? Yes, so she tells me, hey, you have an appointment on Friday, but don't go with your son. Go with someone who can accompany you, a friend or a family member. Like I said before, I don't have any close relatives. I have friends who have become my family. I have a friend whose name was Francisco. He just passed away in January. I said to him, hey, Paquito, hey, I have an appointment at the prosecutor's office on Friday. Will you come with me? Oh, yes, Nana. He calls me Nana. Oh, yes, Nana. I work at the sports center at Triante Meridium. If I make it, that's perfect since they're really close to each other. The prosecutor's office was where the Casino Royale is, and the sports center was near Colinas in San Jeronimo, so they were very close. And I said, well, that's fine. She asked me if they had found her yet. I told her I didn't know as they hadn't told me anything, but that I would wait for her there. No, well, I already arrived, and then she arrived too. The searchers arrived, and Mati, Luisa, and Lulu introduced themselves to me. And they say to me, well, they start talking to me, right? Like, hey, what happened with Melissa? And why did she leave? Well, because she wanted to go to a party. She wanted to go out. We told her not to go out because, well, the pandemic was really bad at that time. I worked in a high-risk place and, well, no, she shouldn't go out. I don't know why. I don't know if they already knew or if they already had signs that Melissa had already been found. So then Paco and the others arrive. I don't remember from where they come in. Luisa, one of the searchers, comes in with them, and meanwhile, I was talking with Mati and Lulu. When Luisa comes out, she asks me if they're going to talk to me. Do you want one of us to go with you? At that moment, I already felt more connected to Lulu. And I said yes. I asked, can she come in with me? And they said yes. So we went in. And it was a small living room, kind of like here. A small living room, and the couches were like this. Lulu and I sat down. There were two other people, each on a single armchair. And Mr. Rodolfo was standing like this at the door. And I think that was the moment when I was accompanied by both Mr. Rodolfo and Lulu, who were very empathetic with what I was going through. He was there with a box of tissues, like he already knew what was coming. But at that moment, I didn't analyze it. I didn't think about it, but he was there. His face showed a lot of empathy for what was happening. I don't know how to explain it to you. So the lady starts talking, and she tells me, on April 13th, there was a female person was shot. Afterwards, this person was taken to Clinic 6 and later passed away. All right, we're going to show you some photos because she only has a 47% match with you. Compatibility. And I want to make it very clear about these photos. After you see them, they will be destroyed. Yes. She is at the table and places the photographs. And I see Melissa. Asleep.
She was asleep.
I can't tell you what the feeling was.
Today it's pain, but at that moment I can't tell you what it was. I don't know if it was peace. I don't know if it was the emotion of knowing, now I know you're not suffering. It could have been a lot of anger. Also at that moment, because they're telling me that since then I was in the amphitheater. that neither I nor the authorities could find her. How? What's going on? The Apodaca police did a bad job. She was listed as an older woman, and that's how the information was disseminated and perpetuated. A Honduran woman of a certain age range was identified at the location, according to ongoing reports. That's why we couldn't find her. So that's it. That happens and that's it. Paco comes in, tells me, and I say, Paco, you see her now? And they ask him, is it really her? And he says, yes, it is. Yes, it's her. At that moment, that's it. That's when I let go. I really wanted to go back, my stomach, to scream. My legs couldn't hold me up. But I had already found her. I already knew where she was. But things didn't end there. That's when they tell me that Melissa died in Clinic 6. And it can't be that she died in Clinic 6 because the 6th was for coronavirus disease and they didn't collect. They didn't collect the wounded. Melissa dies in the university hospital and she dies from hypoglycemic shock because she was not attended to. Because when you arrive like that, first you have to deposit an amount so they will attend to you. She was there from the attack at 5:30 post-meridium until she passed away at 4:30 ante-meridium. Afterwards, the next day we go to the amphitheater. It's hours that you suffer there. And it was also that they told me that she was already in the common grave, and that I had to pay for all the cemeteries from Dr. Arroyo were used for her burial, as she didn't die from coronavirus disease. This was to prevent contamination of her body, as it's a homicide case which has no precedent. I mean, it doesn't preside. They sent her to Dr. Arroyo, so they had to pay all the exhumation. I mean, from there, and then all the cemeteries she had to go through, from Dr. Arroyo all the way here. They had to pay a certain amount for each one. For each cemetery she went through, until reaching her destination, to where I would keep vigil. And he would say to me, this one. Louisa was in contact with someone from the prosecutor's office, telling them, tell him no. That she's not in the common grave yet. She hasn't been moved to the common grave yet. She's still there. In the morgue, she's still there. I mean, she's not buried yet. So, well, that's how it was. I think we arrived at 7 in the morning. I was accompanied by a person from the victim's office, victim's prosecutor's office. So honestly, I've had support from them. And they told me, we're here. No, you're not alone. You're not alone. Another event coincided with the day we found Millie. Just imagine that from there we became victims because they had to give me a certificate. Give me a certificate that says you're a victim. That helped a lot. That really helped you in many ways too. And from there, well, Lulu offers to go to tell my children. That's something she was forgetting, but how do I tell my children? I mean, how am I going to tell them? So they tell me, we're not going to post anything about her being found because obviously they post on the page. She was found today, right? We asked for justice, support for her family, all of that.
In an instant, the lives of all of Melissa's loved ones changed forever. One of the worst fears any family can face had become a reality. However, for Hilda, instead of finding peace, what she discovered was a web of lies and mishandled procedures by the authorities responsible for her daughter's case.
and there were Carolina and Isaac, and I already spoke to them. Not the way we would have wanted, but we already found her. Lulu starts to say how things happened. I mean, again, that she was gunned down, that she died in the hospital after a few hours, all of that. She has been searching for many years, and she is someone I admire greatly. She shared with my children, well, the feeling as a mother. And that's something that has helped us a lot, the three of us, very much. Besides the fact that she has become our family. If we have a problem or something, or if I'm sick, or if one of them needs something, and I know that they're there, they've become my family. After that, when they give us the that's where we're going to bury him. Fortunately, I still have my paternal grandfather. And he gave me a place to take Melissa. Because I wasn't expecting it, and I wouldn't have been able to pay the down payment for a burial plot. At that moment, I couldn't. And my grandpa gave me that place to take Melissa. And then we prepared the place where we were going to hold the wake for her. That day when I found her, I had to go to the airport because since I worked at the airport, you left your identification because you drove the van, which is to access the areas of the airport. When I was already coming home on the airport bus, the person from Lost and Found calls me and says, "Ma'am." But how could Melissa already be in the amphitheater if we were looking for her? And besides, everyone was telling us they had just seen her. And well, yes, but no, they weren't lying. They lied to me for 2 months, 3 months. And to you for the 2 months you were searching for her. When I posted that we found Melissa, though not in the way I hoped for. Thank you for the support from everyone who shared her flyer and those who were keeping an eye out. And we already posted the one from the searchers. A young man who had worked with us at a sports club told me, "Hey, I think I recorded something." So I asked him, "Do you have it?" And he said yes. And he goes through. He sends me a video where Melissa is completely conscious. She is moving, then he is moving her when they are putting her into the ambulance. It's impossible that she didn't give her name. It's impossible that she didn't say where she lived. It's impossible Melissa was conscious. In fact, another person who is now on the bus looking for her son says that her husband saw her. He saw her. Melissa, he said a young girl was shot on the corner, but she's okay. She's okay. I mean, if she's gonna make it, she's okay. I have the video saved. Sometimes when I watch it, I wonder what happened. What was it that happened? I don't understand. Afterwards, I fall into a depression. And we go to a meeting with the homicide prosecutor's office. At that time, Mr. Lewis was the director of the prosecutor's office. And honestly, he was always also very empathetic with us. He was also very humane. You could feel that. And so I told him that I had never been called in about Melissa, and he got me an appointment with the attorney who was handling Melissa's case. During those days, I posted a lot of memories about Melissa and things like that, and I imagine some of her friends were following me. And it was like someone took pity on me and told me, they sent me a message and then you log out of Facebook and they block you and you only show up as a user. But they left me Wendy's address because I had never had it before. So when I go to the prosecutor's office, what I've always fought for at the prosecutor's office is that there's a video of the people who gunned down Melissa. After we identified her and buried her, there were people who know me who came up to me and told me, hey, we saw that it was a man in a certain car, a heavy-set, tattooed man who was driving. And the one who got out was a bold, thin, older man, and he was the one who shot her. Melissa, the girl was walking with someone else, and in the car was the girl I mentioned to you. So, since I can't be sure if it's true that she was there or not, I want to see the video, and also I don't live in that neighborhood anymore. But I was thinking, what if I'm running into those people who are in that video? What if I'm running into them? They've never shown me that video, never. When I go to the attorney and I tell her, I know there's a video and I want to see it, if there is a video. It's just that we need you to have an attorney, this and that, and what about me? I saw Devani's case, but the parents didn't go with the attorney to see the video themselves. Why is that? Why me as a mother of a homicide victim, and now we're seeing that it's femicide? Why can't I see it? Melissa's case remained with the homicide prosecutor's office. Why didn't they change it to femicide? I don't know. It's the only case that's in homicides. All the others went to femicide except Melissa's. So she tells me. And we've looked for Wendy everywhere, but they're hiding her. I told her, no problem. Here you have the address, and I gave her the photos, the coordinates, and the address they gave me. After that, I know they moved to the Caracol neighborhood after the authorities were looking for her, but Melissa always said she was dating a commander from Apodaca. And well, if you think about it, everything fits. I mean, missing because of the poor work of the authorities in Apodaca, poor identification by Apodaca authorities. Melissa was doing well. In the ambulance. I mean, it could be true, but like I said, from there, they sent me to the prosecutor's psychologist. And I don't know about the experience of other colleagues, but I'm speaking about my own. They are not qualified to treat us. There's no empathy, no humanity. They don't have it. They are not qualified to treat. We're talking about the fact that regardless of how my daughter was, or regardless of what she did, or the circumstances in which she passed away, I'm her mom, and you owe both her and me respect. If vices exist, it's because corrupt authorities allow them to persist. She treated me in the worst way. I mean, it was my fault for leaving my house to look for a living, to give them a roof, to give them an education. It was my fault. And how? I mean, I left from there in a really bad emotional state. I could be standing on the bus and my tears would just come out, and I had no reason to be crying. Well, I did have a reason, but at that moment I wasn't talking about him, nor was I. I wasn't focused on getting home. I was experiencing the moment, and my eyes were tearing up. And I was like that for a year. For this, the authorities of Apodaca, I started to post things like that about the authorities there. And they sent me the DIF. The attorney's name was Claudia Castillo. But I told her, we're going to take the girl right now. And I said, how? I mean, Carolina, my daughter and me, how? Why? We're going to take her with us. I mean, we're going to do an evaluation. Where is the summons? Carolina is a minor. She can't go anywhere without me. I mean, she can't go anywhere without me. If you send summons to prisoners just to move them to another cell, why not to me? Now you say what? Oh, sure, just like that, out of the blue. So I called a cousin of mine who's a lawyer, and back then I was lucky because she had a coronavirus disease and was with my aunt. And so I told her, Aunt, hey, can you give me the phone? And she says to me, oh, she's here with me because we're going to a doctor's appointment. So I say to her, hey, can you see what's going on? And she says, no, that's very abnormal. I mean, they have to give you a summons so that you're informed because the girl is a minor and they can call you in. So that's how it ended up. And I was being harassed. And I was being harassed. And my son too, both of us were going through a hard time. And they wouldn't let us go through it. Isaac fell into a very, very deep depression. He lost about 8 kilos. Carolina was also in a really deep depression because back then they weren't going back to school. That even the sunlight, just opening the window a little bit was horrible for them. They wouldn't eat. And if they drank water, it was the same. They would throw up because of the stress they were already experiencing. I had to go out to work. I was afraid to go out to work because what if they came to my house and took my daughter? I was already going to lose one. I was going to lose two. Now, where were they going to send her? My children don't spend time with their father's family, nor with mine. So who were they going to give her to? We were going through a grieving process. Even if we weren't the perfect family, she was one of us. She was a part of us. If we hadn't cared, we wouldn't have looked for her. If we hadn't cared, we wouldn't even have filed the report. Well, anyway, from there too, I had to make it public, and that was the only way they left me alone. We were in therapy with a psychologist who's also part of the group, but he's from Mexico City. Miguel, he's also very empathetic with us because he also lost someone. He's also looking for someone. And he's someone who helped us get through this a lot. Authorities in Nuevo León, with the sensitivity to treat us, there isn't any. In a meeting with the governor's cabinet, there was a person who used to be in environmental, Claudia, I think that's her name. And she was comparing our lives, the lives of our children, or our pain. Like when they cut down a tree, how can you compare the life of a child or a sibling or a parent with a tree? And I did tell her, I really did tell her in that meeting. I told her that there weren't any empathetic people in Nuevo León to help us, and that I found what she was doing to be an insult. By comparing the pain of animals with that of a child, with that of a mother, a brother, a wife who searches for years among wells. Without resting. Many times you don't rest, always afraid to speak, with the fear of, like today, with your invitation, many of us are afraid because of what's coming. I mean, no, there's no authority in Nuevo León that empathizes with what's happening. And the ones that were there were removed because of a case. I'm speaking for myself. So, well, we don't know. From what I've found out, they told him that he owed drugs. And others tell me that Wendy stole drugs and that he blamed her. And Melissa, she was already in an advanced stage of schizophrenia, so she was afraid of them. I remember that she would peek out like this through the window, or was it me? When it was cold, I would cover my railing with plastic and she would peek out like that, to check if they were absent and not watching her. I imagine they threatened her because of us, which is why she did it. They could keep controlling her. They could keep controlling her the way they wanted, even getting money from her. Because so they wouldn't come after us. That's what I think. And that she didn't want that anymore. Apparently, she got away from where he was keeping her. She got out of where they were keeping her. After the party, and then they followed her. Because there are people who walk down that street where she was killed. I've been told that she was running and screaming, asking for help, saying they wanted to kill her. And when she was about to go into a store, a lady was coming out, and the guy got out of the car and scared the lady away. And that's when he shot Melissa. I don't know. I've never seen the video, and follow up on the case. The prosecutor's office has had frequent lawyer turnover. There have been many lawyers changed in the prosecutor's office. Today there was one, then they were going to tell us who had stayed. With the case, there was being supported by a lawyer from the Attorney General's office. But there are many cases. That's it. This doesn't stop, and no one is exempt. No one can say that nothing bad happens. Where are the parents? No, because they can be in your house and they can take them from your house. Because they might get confused, or because they might be friends with a certain person, or because they went to a party with someone that they shouldn't have gone to. And we don't really know our friends. What I always tell my children, the experience we've had as a family is my son. For example, it's a few close friends. My daughter had to learn to live with it to overcome my fear, because if not, then they would win. They weren't just killing Maylee, but also me and my children. When Carolina started high school, it was about harassing her. You've arrived and you're in class, so you can't be answering me constantly. Besides, I'm wearing her down and I'm making her, instead of just letting her feel already. My mom is constantly calling me. Instead of helping, I'm actually hurting her and making her more insecure. When she starts having anxiety attacks, I say, it's me. Since becoming a widow, I realized that my children's well-being depended on my own, and I wasn't okay. So, a lot of people ask me why I smile so much. At work, they always tell me, oh, you are always so smiley. Oh, you are always so happy. And I don't know if I'm happy or if I'm sad. What I do know is that other people didn't do anything to me. Yes, I know that the people around me weren't the ones. Yes. I know I made a lot of mistakes as a mother, but I also know that I'm raising 2 other good people. And that they would never do that to anyone. And that they have to live. I'm going to live through my grief, and they experience it differently. And I can't diminish their lives. And I can't be selfish. I can't be selfish. Of poisoning everyone around me with my pain. When I'm at the square, there, with the disappeared, when we gather. There are other moms who have just found their daughters. And if they come up to me and cry with me, and I know they do it because they know I understand them, because I live it. And to those who haven't found them, for they've also become my family, I still miss them too. But I also follow the example of my companions who have been doing this for years, searching for him, their children, their husbands. And it gives me peace to know that I found her. When I lost my husband, I thought it was the biggest thing the universe had prepared for me, that it was the greatest test. Then I lost my dad, and I thought that was also the greatest pain I was going to experience. But the pain of losing a child has no
end either.
It's something that will hurt you every day. Sometimes it hurts to breathe. It hurts me sometimes. I feel like I can't breathe, and when I exhale again, it hurts. Because I know she doesn't do it, but I have to. Because I still have the responsibility of 2 children. I still haven't made an altar for Isaac, not even as he lives his life. And Melissa still hasn't graduated. She still doesn't have a career. Isaac, angry at life. But they're part of the grieving process. Carolina. She's experiencing the transition from high school to college. And sometimes it weighs on her because Melissa says she didn't experience this. She wasn't given the opportunity. I always educated them knowing that one day I won't be around. It's the only thing they'll have left. It's the only thing I was going to leave them. To be good, hardworking people and a career. And today I'm trying with Carola and I see her as strong. I see her very mature for her age. Very mature for her age and living with that absence. But is her pain different from mine? Me too. Before I used to go to the plaza and I wanted them to go with me. Until Lulu told me, don't force them, maybe they're not ready yet. And it's true.
Losing a loved one in such a tragic and sudden way leaves deep psychological scars on those who love them. The void that Melissa left has not only marked her mother, who has suffered intensely from her absence. The pain also manifests in different ways, in sadness, anxiety, anger, and a sense of injustice that does not go away. Her family's life was then split into a before and after, and every day is a struggle to find strength in the midst of the loss. The grief is not only because of Melissa's absence, but also because of the injustice of knowing that her life was taken away, because of recklessness, and because of a corrupt system that didn't do its job properly or did nothing at all.
You learn, because I haven't gotten over it, and I never will, but I will learn to live with it. And they are learning to live with it. Isaac will get over that anger one day. Because finally, she was going to leave. Even if he told her not to leave, she was going to leave. Carol was a little girl, so how could she stop her? And I also don't think that if Melissa were there, she would say no, like I already knew. I mean, no. You know, death is inevitable, but you don't know when or how it will happen, right? She didn't expect it, so we have to learn to live with that. I trust that Isaac will get through this. I trust Carolina in what they do, in the fact that they are stronger people. The day I'm gone, they already know what absence is. It won't hurt as much anymore. Because sometimes then by their side, they say, we already know what comes after death. We already know about mourning. But Melissa's has hurt more. Because in the end, my husband had stomach cancer. We knew he was going to die. We were already preparing the kids for that. My dad was sick, but her life was taken from her. So we have to overcome that. We have to overcome that. Isaac knows that he's my best friend. He's my best friend. They're my rock. They're my strength. When I don't feel like getting out of bed, it's always them. Those three are. They're the reason to keep going. I'm here today because Melissa encouraged me to come. The reason I keep going is them. I love them, and I hope to see him fulfilled with a family. And I hope to stay until Carolina has a career, and I hope to see her achieve her dream of becoming a pilot captain. She dreams about that, and I hope to see her. And I hope we stay together, that we stay together. And now it's the three of us, but we've always managed.
Nowadays, Hilda no longer looks for someone to blame, but her fight has turned into an effort to make sure that tragedies like the one that happened to her daughter don't happen again. Her voice has become a call to awareness and action, seeking to prevent other families from having to go through the same suffering she is experiencing. What can I say?
That I'm here, that I will continue to be her voice. That I will keep shouting for her, for those who are missing. And that I'm not looking for someone to blame. I'm not looking for someone to blame anymore. But I don't want this to keep happening to more girls. And they're still out there doing it. They're still out there being covered up. Covered up. That one day we are going to meet. And you will see that you did that. Good person. Stay strong. For continuing to be her voice so she won't be forgotten. Because there are many Melisas. I go outside because there are many who have to go out to work. And even if we wanted to split ourselves into 1,000 pieces, to be with them, give them everything, and provide for them without leaving the house, we can't. And it's not our fault either. It's not our fault. That's how it turned out for us, and we have to face it. And it's not that we don't love them. It's because we love them that we have to leave our home.
These videos are uploaded Mondays and Wednesdays on Pepe Misterio's channel. And if you have a case you'd like to talk about, whether you've been the victim of a crime or you're looking for your child, if you have a different kind of job, maybe you're an embalmer, or maybe you're in the military or a police officer, you can send me a message to the email that will appear below, correoypepemisterio.com.mx. Find me on Instagram as Pepe Misterio Mexico or Pepe Misterio Documentalis, and on Facebook as Pepe Misterio. Remember to check out my secondary channel, Muchos Más Misterios, where I upload videos narrated by me, similar to the ones you may already be familiar with.